Okay, where was I? Yes, to enhance. Big, bold, and simple. So again, here, big, bold, I try to make it big. As I mentioned, Harv Eker and Harv uses giant-sized, big, fat suckers. And he just, and sometimes he writes, what is the T, thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions equal results. And he just writes T-F-A-R. That's all he puts on the chart. But then he does like an hour talk on just that. Simple. Keep it simple. Big, bold, and simple. When not to use. When the information is outdated. How many times have you seen people put stuff up there and they're quoting stock prices and stuff from 3 weeks ago? What? By the way, I did not check the paper today, but my wife told me Dow went down how much today?
800.
800?
No.
Oh, okay.
It bounced back up. It's below 1,000 now.
Who knows? Who cares? Right.
Who cares?
Make your own economy. Do not participate in that one. That one is based in fear. Don't go there. Yeah, just make your own economy. Do your thing. If you've got something worthwhile speaking about, go out and speak about it. Okay, I'm going to really have to speed up here. Okay, so when not to use. Information is outdated. Maybe it doesn't fit the audience. So again, if you know if your audience is men and women, and your topic is for women, then it might not work. If it's poor quality, and especially if you have not rehearsed with it. Make sure you rehearse with it. All right, tailor to the audience. Number 7. Stephen Covey again. I can tell I'm a big Stephen Covey fan. He says, seek first to understand, then be understood. So find out more about the audience whenever possible. Call up the person that's bringing you in and ask, can you tell me something about this audience? How many speakers are on ahead of me? How many are coming behind me? By the way, that was a little minor distraction, was it not? I don't know. I'm going to talk about distractions later, about what do you do when something like that, like a person getting up and walking out or a loud noise. I'm going to get to that a little bit later. So find out about your audience. Go and find out from the person that's hiring you, bringing you in, the person that is running that organization, and ask, are they mostly men, women, age? What socioeconomic status? What are they looking for? Have they had speakers before? Am I the first one? Am I the last one? What other topics are being covered? Just as many questions as you can to find out about them. And then tailor your information to match that audience as much as possible. So again, I knew this was going to be primarily entrepreneurs, duh, and that most of you have your own businesses. I did hear some people that are employees. But I would assume that even as employees, sometimes you have to make a speech in front of the company, in front of your work group. Maybe you've got 3 or 4 people on a team. So hopefully all of this applies as well. So tailor that material. Number 8, it says make confidence sheets, not cheat sheets. Again, watch the language there. And again, even that sentence, how can you watch your language? You can't. Watch is a visual word. Listen to yourself. Be careful. Call them confidence sheets. And by the way, I've got my notes. They're all here. By the way, it says fast food for the eyes, use colors. The red are when I do a quote. Blue reminds me it's an activity. And black is just my regular notes. So when I know I'm doing a quote, I will sometimes use my quote voice. And you'll be able to tell that it's a quote that is a little different than just me presenting. So again, the colors are for me to help guide me in making my presentation to you. Here's a quote. Your brain never stops working until you stand up in front of an audience. How many of you have ever had that happen? You knew everything, it was great, and you got up there and just left you. All right, and then bind them. You'll notice these are stapled together. Don't get up with loose papers, because if you drop them and put them back, I actually heard this story. This guy actually dropped his papers, picked them up, and they were in random order. And he just started back reading whichever one was in front of him, and nobody could tell. Nobody noticed. They all sat there. Not quite sure. Okay. Yes? This is my own little system. Blue is, like here it says brainstorm. So that reminds me it's an activity where I would have asked you to brainstorm together. I would have gotten you in groups. Red is when I'm doing a quote. And black is just my notes to myself as to the content, what I need to cover. All right, So helps you focus, fast food for the eye, bind them in order. And then number 9, it says to rehearse. Again, what distinguish? Yes.
This isn't a quote. This is a question. This is actually a note. You're doing what I was taught as an actress to do at auditions, which is you are using your thumb to hold your place on the page.
Yeah, I move it around too. You might notice that sometimes I'm holding it
But
here or
that's
something.
a huge tip, and it's really helpful if you, because otherwise you're like, so, where was I?
Yeah, and I'm actually curious. This is a real question. I've never actually asked this before. Is it, am I losing any credibility with you as an audience by holding my notes in my hand? I'm just curious. No? Anybody? Okay. Yes, one person.
In
Oh.
my presentation, I think it's losing.
It can. We had presenters this weekend, and some of them got up there and they just went. They knew their hour and a half, and they just went. And they didn't refer to anything. Now they had their PowerPoint, and they were referring to that every once in a while. And then there were some that had it on a, Harv uses a music stand, because he doesn't like to have a big thing. And it's just,
Not in this case because we're with the same notes, so we have to report with you. Because you have notes, we have notes.
Yeah.
So we have similarity. That's why it's different.
yeah, and actually when I do my, I just realized when I do my time management class, it's like a 40-page workbook, but I know that stuff. It sits on a thing here, and I'm just walking around the room doing it. And then I just look down to see what page we're on. But then I go up, and there's a lot more writing. This one, again, I'm condensing it a little bit and moving faster. But again, it's kind of up to you. I feel a little better. I haven't done this presentation in a while.
Depends
So,
on the audience. If you present to investors, you
Yes.
never, ever have notes. You should have it never.
yeah, you got to nail it.
Your business model.
Great.
And
Great.
method, pat, whatever it is, down pat, and they don't want to hear it.
Great. Good tip. Write it down. That was flagging. All right, number 9, it says to rehearse. It will minimize your nervousness. Bert Decker, in his audio cassette, it's called High Impact Communications. Bert Decker, his company is actually in San Francisco. He said, just remember this, 98% of your audience wants you to succeed. I'm always wondering, all right, who are the 2 out there out of the 100? Which are the 2 that hope I really screw this thing up? But isn't that true? I mean, why would they be there? They didn't come to sit there and say, boy, I hope this guy really messes up and it's a lousy presentation. Of course not. They're really hoping that you're going to do a great job. So just remember that. Keep that in mind.